Spring is here. You can tell by everybody's pastel-colored shirts. The beauty of new life is indeed inspiring. A new child with their first breath brings a sense of wonder and awe that's unparalleled. This moment marks not just the arrival of a new individual into the world, but also the birth of new relationships. Parents, guardians, siblings, grandparents, friends. But ask any mother if there's a cost to this new life. Surely a knowing and loving smile will wash over her as she affirms the physical and emotional sacrifice that occurred to bring this new child forward. In the week leading up to his crucifixion, Jesus shared a profound insight with his followers, including the disciples who were closest to him and had yet fully grasped the impact of his words. He described how a grain of wheat must fall to the earth and die to produce many seeds, illustrating the sacrifice he was about to make in John 12:24. He wanted them to understand this isn't just the story of an ending, but a promise of a new beginning, a life that springs from sacrifice. Can you think of any Old Testament examples where life of one form or another began with great pain, great misery, great sacrifice? Surely there's many. One such Old Testament example shows us that new life might even require years of sacrifice. Joseph's journey from betrayal and suffering to becoming a source of salvation for his family and an entire nation captures a similar theme. Through his trials, culminating in a position of power in Egypt, Joseph didn't merely survive, he played a pivotal role in the unfolding story of God's people. His life, marked by significant personal sacrifices, led to the preservation of Israel and eventually the lineage from which Jesus would come. Joseph's assurance to his brothers that their intent to harm was transformed by God into a means for good resonates deeply with the message of new life with hope and redemption. It highlights how sacrifice is entwined with the emergence of all new life and supremely illustrates the life, death, and resurrection of Christ. As followers of Christ, we are called to reflect on that reality, that new life often and always comes through sacrifice. Romans 12:1 calls us to live as living sacrifices, a life marked not by loss, but by the gain of what comes through giving of ourselves. This living sacrifice is about embracing the life of Christ, the life he offers us, a life that is born out of the willingness to lay down parts of ourselves for something greater. The disciples may not have understood it then, but the parallels in these two narratives and many others, the example of the transformative journey of Joseph and the ultimate sacrifice of Jesus, underscore the truth that new life, spiritual or physical, carries with it a cost. It is through embracing this cost, through acts of giving of ourselves, sacrificing, and loving, that the fullest expression of new life is realized. Just as parents pour themselves out in love for their child, so too are believers called to live a life of sacrificial love, following the example of Christ. Romans 12:1, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable by God, which is your reasonable service.